get this situated. Let's see. Like this. Sit on my come on, man. Let's make this work. I have one. I'm trying to get this like that. But it don't want to work, and I don't want to hold it. Can I fix it? So I have to hold it. What up, princess? I need a better system for using my tablet. I'm using my iPad. What up, LF Trucking? Because I wanted to do this. If I sit it up regular, it'll be like that. And then, you know, I don't like that. I put it to the side. That doesn't work either. What up, real? Okay, let's try something. This doesn't work. Welcome to our team. I used to work the night. What up, virtual trucker? I think the best bet was to have it right here. Just need to. There. That works. And let me open it up on here. My battery is about to die. I'm gonna try. I can't see your comments that well. Let's see. Okay, I've been with Night for almost 3 years. Alrighty, y'all. So, everybody been hitting me up talking about what you think about this acquisition, and they expect me to say something bad or good, or they expect me to have an opinion. I wasn't going to do this video. And I guess I had to because people kept asking me. So I figured I'll take this as an opportunity to enlighten people. If you're business minded, you understand what it means, what's happening. When I first heard of the acquisition, like my initial thought was, my phone was about to blow up. That was my initial thought. And then, sure enough, my phone blew up. Like I'm not concerned about the acquisition. Like, I'm not scared by it, upset by it, mad at it. I think it's a good thing. And this is why. So when I first started driving trucks, I was driving for night transportation. And probably within like a month of me being on the truck, they acquired Swift Transportation. And everybody's like, oh no, it's a big old problem, big old issue. But night transportation was a good company, right? And Swift was struggling. So I figured, I'm thinking, maybe Swift was struggling, so they acquired Swift to help them out, right? Because if you're a business owner, you don't want to go bankrupt. You rather sell it. I mean, I think anybody in a situation would rather sell something versus go bankrupt. For example, you own a house. I would rather sell my house before I got to get foreclosed on. You have a business, I'd rather sell my business before going bankrupt, right? So the video I did before this was talking about all the changes that Variant was making and USXpress was making. And wait, let me rewind. So I figured Knight buying Swift was going to make the company better, so they didn't have to go bankrupt. They had to clean their image, so to speak, because everybody, Swift had a bad name. So when that happened, I worked there for a year and a half. I didn't feel any changes personally as a driver when I was working at Knight when they bought Swift. So here I am at USXpress, and Knight bought USXpress. Knight Swift bought USXpress. And it's not necessarily, it's a purchase and consolidation. So purchase and consolidation basically means when they're consolidating, it means larger orders, higher discounts, lower delivery charges, more efficient operations and stuff like that. So me understanding that, and I wrote notes down because I didn't want to be all over the place, how my ADHD be doing. Me knowing that information about business, I figured this would be a good look for USXpress. Before I came to USXpress, everybody kept saying, you shouldn't go there, don't go to USXpress, it's a bad company, it's a mega carrier, they don't care about the drivers, blah, blah, blah. And I never experienced that. I never had issues with USXpress. I'm here and I don't see any... What are you doing? My dog is chewing on my vest. I didn't see any issues. But as I've been with this company, like I said, I made that video last year about, not last year, but the last video I made about all the changes that Variant and USXpress were making, because they were struggling big time. The first sign of struggle came from when Cameron got fired. The vice president got fired. When he got fired, that was a big, big sign. And when he got fired, I don't know what reports were true or not, but a lot of it had to do, it was surrounding money. Like, I don't know if he got fired because of money, but it was something that had to do with income, finances, the business finances, something needed to be changed. They fired him. Had to have been big if the vice president gets fired. I think he was the vice president of operations, or vice president of the company, of Variant. So when that happened, everything was good, and then things got terrible. Terrible, 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 terrible with USXpress and Variant. The turnover rate at this moment was, before the acquisition, was 150% turnover rate. So they were trying to hire more drivers to, help offset the turnover rate. But there's so many problems. Like, you had the optimizer. The optimizer had problems. Then you had, since they were trying to hire so many drivers, then operations felt that. They felt the problem with operations because now you don't have a big enough staff to handle the volume of drivers that we have coming in. So when Variant first started, we had a very small staff of OPS agents, and they were awesome. But because the volume of drivers came in so fast, then they had to hire more OPS agents. Now, these OPS agents were like, we call them OGs. They were something different. You guys heard me talk about it. They were something different. Like, I've never had a company treat drivers the way OPS treated these drivers. And so when they hired a whole bunch of other staff members, more OPS agents, it was like they didn't understand the culture, the Variant culture, and they didn't understand the things that Variant did for its drivers. So I call it the anti-Variant mindset, which is when a driver or a employee comes in from another trucking company, they're used to the way that an average trucking company does business, that they, when it comes to Variant, they do business that way. For example, one of the things that Variant was doing, this down here, was they would deadhead us so far, I'm just trying to stop cussing, so far away, like 600 miles away, they would deadhead us. And so, for example, I was in Utah and I had to be in Houston, Texas for home time. They couldn't get me at home on time, and one of the promises was they promised to get you home on time 99% of the time, right? So they deadheaded me from Utah, Salt Lake City, all the way to Houston. But when drivers would call in to the new operations staff who didn't understand that and didn't know that, they would tell drivers, we don't do that. We don't do that, and we don't, we're not going to fly you home and all this stuff. Like, if you miss your home time, I'm sorry for you. But that's how other trucking companies did it. That's not how Variant did it. So a lot of the stuff that ambassadors were promising that Variant did, the new OPS agents didn't know that's what we did, and so drivers would quit because of that. A lot of stuff that drivers quit behind was the optimizer. The optimizer had drivers picking up a live load, driving and sitting for like 3, 4, 5 hours to get unloaded, driving 200 miles and then getting live unloaded, and sitting for 5, 6 hours to get live unloaded. They wasn't getting any miles. The optimizer was good, but it had little problems that they had to fix. A lot of drivers quit because of that, because they were getting miles. So now they hired a whole bunch of drivers. They were spending money. They were spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on ads. They spent thousands of dollars going to expos. They spent thousands of dollars for the Cancun trip and the Vegas trip. They spent thousands of dollars for, trying to hire drivers. And hiring a driver is the most expensive thing that you could do at a trucking company. Like, that's the thing that costs the most within a fleet. So they were spending all this money, and they weren't getting the turnover because drivers were quitting because they were sitting waiting for loads, and they were, getting these short miles. And my stance on miles, it doesn't matter how many miles the load is, you still got the same 11 hours on your clock. Make it happen. But all these drivers coming in, because of everything that they were doing to recruit drivers, it caused a whole bunch of problems. There was a whole bunch of drivers and not enough OPS staff. Now they got a lot of OPS staff, but OPS is not understanding the Variant culture. And on top of that, the optimizer is messing up. And then on top of that, the phone lines are crazy. We're sitting on hold for 30, 40, 50 minutes, an hour, blah, blah, blah. Then on top of that, it was hard to find trailers because we were missing a lot of trailers. And drivers are quitting because of all of that. So then they're spending more money on ads. I got this from FreightWaves. There was a manager who... there's a guy at USXpress who was booking loads for USXpress, right? The manager was outsourcing the loads and pocketing the money. That was a problem. So management and operations was having problems within the structure of management and operations. Of course, they went through Cameron, then they went through Dustin, and now we have Josh. So it was a lot of stuff going on. And, the stocks are going down. They're losing money. Then we lost accounts because drivers are not, they're not servicing the loads on time and stuff like that. We're losing bids for accounts and customers. It was grim. Variant and USXpress was about to go in bankruptcy. But if you're smart and you know business, you tuck your tail between your legs and you make a decision. And the decision that they made was to sell USXpress. But what does that mean? Or sell and consolidate. But what does that mean? Well, Knight was a large company, and Swift was the largest company in the trucking industry with the most customers and the most trailers. So Knight bought Swift, and they consolidated, so now they're one big old mega carrier, right? Then they're buying USXpress and consolidating. So what that does is it eliminates competition, right? Because USXpress was Knight Swift's competition. It eliminates competition. So when you're bidding for loads and bidding for customers and accounts, now you're a part of the solution instead of the problem. Like, Knight Swift Transportation has purchase power. They have good rapport with customers, right? they can make the bigger moves sooner. It's kind of like the load boards. You got the best loads to come out Monday morning, and everybody, you know, you got the juice to get the best loads, and then whatever's left is for the little people, right? You got to know how to book the loads. You got to be the cream of the crop. Well, that's how it was with Night Swift. They was the cream of the crop. They knew how to. They were competitive as far as bidding for loads. They were getting those good old customers and stuff like that in lanes and things like that. And US Express was competing with them. But if US Express, if you have more employees, and most of those employees are doing well and servicing the loads, you got 1,000 employees and 98% of them are servicing loads perfectly. Then you got 250 employees for this company, and half of them are failing loads. Who you think is who's going to get the bid, right? The larger company. So Variant, US Express, the drivers, they were failing loads and stuff like that, and we lost some customers. Then we had to stop hiring out the West Coast and in Florida, and it was just going downhill. So it makes sense to sell the company. Now, Craig Fuller, this was his baby. I'm sure he didn't want to sell it because he built it from the ground up, right? But think about it. Whatever decisions he make is not going to just affect him. It's going to affect him majority, but it's not going to just affect him. It's going to affect the drivers, right? The company, the employees. What do you think will help? What will affect the drivers? Well, we have more customers now because the acquisition comes with, if it's one big old company, now we have the access to the customers. We can bid for better freight. We have more trailers. We have more staff. The CEO and president is going to take over US Express. So what does that mean for drivers? That means we have more of a chance to make more money, get more miles. We could hire. What I'm about to say is assumptions, but I'm assuming we could hire now again out of the West Coast and Florida, and we have those lanes out there. There's a lot of freight in California, Oregon, and Washington for Knight, and Knight has a terminal in Lakeland, Florida. We have a terminal in Jacksonville, but there's a lot of freight. Knight has terminals everywhere, so that means they got freight everywhere. So that's more miles for the driver. That's more miles, more customers, more freight. Also, so US Express was in debt. Knight Swift Transportation, we're not in debt. They're above water. They have more liquid assets than US Express does, right? So they could refinance US Express's debt at a lower rate. So then US Express will be out of debt. And if I'm thinking the correct way, they'll be out of debt. What does that mean? That means that you don't have to make so many changes within a company. Changes like you could buy trucks and keep your fleet age small. Like US Express's average fleet age is 1.7 years, right? If you're in debt, you don't have the money to purchase new equipment. If you're getting ready to go bankrupt, you definitely don't have money to purchase new equipment. Then you probably skimp on something here to keep money over here. No pay raises, no bonuses, stuff like that. I know Knight gave safety bonuses. I don't know if they still do, but they gave safety bonuses. If you did so many miles, safe miles, you got a bonus at the end of the quarter. So you could do that when you have money, but when you're in debt, you can't do that. So that means more money for the driver. I don't see I don't see why people say being a mega carrier, going to a mega carrier is a bad thing. I still refer drivers to night transportation. If they don't have experience, if they have less than 3 months, I tell them to go to night transportation. Because that's where I started. I love night transportation. Night transportation was good to me. I got miles. When I was there, I didn't know how to run my clock. I'm a new driver. I didn't know how to run my clock and be successful with the miles that I was getting. But in hindsight, looking back, I would have been super successful in night transportation. Hindsight, today, if I was in night transportation, I would have been super successful. Because now I know how to run. I know how to do what I got to do to make money. So I don't understand why people say working for a mega carrier is a bad thing. Some mega carriers, yes. Yes. But not all mega carriers are bad. And nothing is going to change because of this acquisition as far as Variant is concerned. Variant is still going to be Variant because they're brands, right? They're different brands of a company. So, for example, Procter & Gamble owns Charmin Ultra and Clorox and all of these different brands. They operate separate from each other. You're not calling Clorox Procter & Gamble. It's a brand of Procter & Gamble. USXpress, or Variant, is a brand of USXpress. So nothing is changing within Variant. They're making changes at the level of USXpress, which needed to be done. They needed to change operations. They needed to change management. They needed to change the structure. They need to change their spending. They need to get a hold on their spending. They need to acquire more customers and freight. And then, so there's things that I thought about, like we do weekly Zoom meetings at Variant. And these weekly Zoom meetings, they'll discuss things, and I'd be thinking to myself, night transportation would have did it this way. And an example of that would be, at night, they'll dispatch you on a load, and then you go look for an empty trailer, right? If you don't have one. At Variant, they'll send you to go get an empty trailer first, then they'll dispatch you on the load. So if there's no trailers available, you're waiting around for a load. You could be sitting and waiting for a load, which will cause drivers to quit. At night transportation, you are dispatched on that load. So the main priority is finding you a trailer. And if there's no way that you can get a trailer, so then they're going to just send you in bobtail because you got to service that customer. That customer has to be serviced. We're not going to lollygag trying to find you a trailer if it's not available. So then they'll try to get permission to get you in on bobtail. So, for example, night transportation, the way that they train their drivers is different than the way Swift trained their drivers. Like the actual on-the-truck driver training, their model is different. And I believe that's the reason why, again, these are my assumptions, that's the reason why Swift had a bad name, because of their training model, right? So you take Night's training model, which I think is great. I learned so much from night transportation, and you train Swift's drivers and their staff and crew on that model, so they're all one unit. I think it would have made, I don't know if they did that. Nobody is forced to dispatch virtual trucker, and I'm gonna touch on that in a minute. But I hope that that's what they did to help improve driver production and safety. So if Night comes over here, their safety standards are totally different than USXpress. Like when you go to orientation at night transportation, you got to do Smith system training, right? They actually take you out in the company vehicle and make you do this Smith system training. Like they say, look over there, you got to call out stuff. There's people at the stoplight getting ready to cross the crosswalk. There's a car over here that's idling. The light is pale green, like stuff like that. They want to know that you know your stuff, right? They didn't do that when I came to USXpress orientation. That's something that Night could bring to USXpress to improve the safety, to improve our, to make improvements. So, my ultimate opinion on Knight Swift acquiring US Express is, I think it's great. I think it's a great move. The only downfall I could see with it would be people don't want to come to a mega carrier, and I'm still recruiting, so it'll be challenging to try to recruit drivers who don't want to come to a mega carrier, because now we're like a mega carrier. But then again, I don't want to recruit drivers who are not business savvy and who want to fight and argue. If you about your paper, like, first of all, I'm never going to tell somebody to do something that I'm not willing to do. I have 4 children. I got to take care of those kids. I want to go home to see my children. I would never tell somebody to work for a company that treats you like crap and doesn't care about their drivers, because I wouldn't work for that company. So the fact that I'm working for this company because I have children to take care of and I have to maintain a standard of living lets you know that it must be a good company, because I'm never going to put myself in a position where I can't take care of my kids. That's number one, first and foremost. If it doesn't benefit them, I don't have time for it. So I would never put myself in a position where if I'm at a company where I'm unhappy because I'm not treated right, that wears on you. You end up taking that home with you. You're unhappy, you're stressed out, you're depressed, you go home and you're stressed out and upset and yelling at the kids and stuff because you're being treated terribly and you dread going to work. That, your quality of living goes down, right? I would never do that. I would never work for a company that's not good for me and it's not good for my children. So that means I would never ask somebody to do something that I'm not willing to do. I would not say, come to Variant, come to US Express if it's a bad company, if it's bad. And then people who have these bad reviews of US Express or Variant, I get it. I get y'all quit back then and it was an issue. Yes, it was. I admit that. And I'm not a spokesperson for Variant, but I admit there was fucking issues. And yes, I'm cussing, sorry. But the difference is they acknowledge those issues and they work on them and they try to fix them. They're just now pulling my trailer into the door? Damn. They're trying to fix them. A lot of other companies, they don't care if they have problems. But we actually have weekly Zoom meetings. So the drivers can tell management about the problems and the complaints, and management can tell the drivers what they're doing to fix the stuff that they complained about last week, right? So I don't think it's a bad idea. This is great. I think it's great. I know Knight weeded out the bad Swift drivers because the way Knight structures its business and safety, like, I learned so much from Knight Transportation. Had it not been for Knight Transportation, I probably would have been a reckless driver out here. Knight Transportation has one of the best safety entry-level driving. Like, if you get in an accident, like when I first started at Knight and I had my tandem slid and I made a right-hand turn and I hit a pole, they sent me back to the terminal so I can do training again. I had to back in and drive and make right-hand turns. They had me practice again. The safety director, or the manager of the safety department in Las Vegas, made me come back to the terminal. They make all the drivers do that. If you get in an accident, and in your I guess probationary period or something, you got to come back and do touch-up training. They don't do that at US Express, right? So, and the safety people they have an open door. Like, they're really personable. If you don't know something, you can literally call them and they will explain it to you and help you through it. And then to avoid getting written up and stuff, and when they call you, if you have an infraction or something, not an infraction, but if something happens where you normally would get written up or get a preventable, they will ask you, what did you learn from this situation? What could you have done better? What could you have changed? So you get to thinking, and they'll give you feedback on your answers. So you get to thinking, you actually learn how to be a professional truck driver. I don't think there's anything wrong with Knight Transportation acquiring US Express, because US Express can use that. US Express can use the safety business model that Knight Transportation has. They can use the operations model. sliding scale fee. I think it's still on a sliding scale fee. The miles are on a sliding scale fee. So if you have a load that's 250 miles or less, you get paid more money, versus a load that's 1,500 miles, you get paid less money, because it evens out. That helps everything. It helps the company, it helps production, it helps profitability. I don't see a problem with it. So yes, my ultimate opinion is it's a great move. Like, if something was going to happen to Variant, if this didn't happen, if this acquisition didn't happen and something happened where I couldn't work at Variant anymore, I would have went back to night transportation. So that's how much confidence I have in that company. So that's that. Now, forced dispatch. People get on my nerves when they talk about forced dispatch, because the definition of forced dispatch with the FMCSA and DOT means that they force you to run loads unsafely or illegally. But trucking carriers say that they're forced dispatch. So that misleads the drivers, because what they're meaning is by forced dispatch has a completely different meaning than what DOT and the FMCSA says forced dispatch is. So forced dispatch based on the FMCSA and DOT means that if you pick up a load and they make you drive that load, if they make you pick up the load, if you're sick, fatigued, tired, out of service hours, whatever the case may be, and they make you do it anyway, that's forced dispatch. You still got to pick that load up. If you don't have any hours left, but you're an hour away from the shipper, and dispatch calls you and says, hey, I need you to, oh no, not even that. If you're sick and you can't run, like you got a fever, you're falling asleep at the wheel, you're tired, you can't go anymore, right? Then dispatch calls you and says, I need you to run that load. I know you're tired. Like, somebody did a video about it. This guy, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he recorded dispatch telling him, because he was telling him, dispatch, I'm tired, I can't go anymore. And I think dispatch was telling him, why don't you get out and stretch, get out and take a stretch break, but we got to get that load there, blah, blah, blah. That's forced dispatch. It's illegal. It's unsafe. You can't safely deliver that load. But trucking companies say forced dispatch, meaning you cannot turn down a load. When drivers hear, oh, I can't turn down a load, they're like, shit, I gotta drive that load anyway, even if I don't have hours, even if I'm sick, even if I'm tired. No. Yes and no. You don't have any hours on your clock. They dispatch you on the load. You accept the load, put in your ETA. There. You put in the time that you'll be available to service that load after your 10-hour break. You don't want to go to a certain area. Well, USXpress or night variant doesn't make you go to New York City and lower boroughs. You can turn down those loads. But why would you want to turn down a load? Why? You came out here to drive. You came out here to make money, to get a paycheck, to take care of your family. Why are you turning down money? Why do you care if you have the ability to turn down a load or not? It doesn't make sense to me. We're forced dispatch. That's what they say. Meaning we can't turn down loads. We can't decline loads. But you know what we can do? We can accept the load and then communicate with OPS or dispatch or fleet manager why that load is not the best load for us. And then, because you know how to communicate, they'll take the load off of you and they'll reassign you a load. Like, for example, after I deliver this load right now, I have a load going to New York that delivers on the 25th. But I'm supposed to be in Houston on the 28th. So I'm going to do a quick little trip plan to see if I can make that trip. Can I make it with the weather that's going to happen? I'm gonna do a trip plan and see. And if I can't make that load, I can't turn it down. Well, I can, in this instance with home time, you can turn it down. But if I can't make that load, I'm gonna sit down and send them a message like, I don't feel comfortable accepting this load going to New York. We're gonna have inclement weather. I need to be at home at a certain time because I have stuff to do, right? So what happens if I take the load though and I still can't get home? I could drop it at a drop lot, a terminal or something, and then just dead it, and do a terminal transfer. So, or a repower, whatever the case may be. So when people say that we're forced dispatch, it's because you can't turn down the load, you can't decline the load. I don't know why would somebody want to decline the load anyway. Why? Because it's hard? Because you're going somewhere where it's going to be hard to back into the door? Okay, that's practice for you. It makes you a better driver, a better backer. Oh, you don't want to you turn down the load because you don't like the shipper or receiver because it's a live unload and you're going to be sitting there forever. Okay, I'm here at Target, and Target said on the sign on the door, the minimum time I'm going to be sitting and waiting for a live unload is 5 hours. Guess what? I'm bobtail right now because you got to drop the trailer to go unload. I can go take care of business if I needed to. If I'm studying, I can study. I'm doing a YouTube video right now. I could be sleeping, catching up on my sleep. There's things that you can do because everybody knows as an over-the-road truck driver, you don't always have time to take care of all your business because you're driving. You could use that opportunity, that 5 hours, to do something that you needed to get done and you didn't have time to, instead of turning down the load. Oh, you turned down the load because you don't feel good? That's not an excuse. Accept the load and tell them that you don't feel good. Period. I mean, I can't see a situation why you would want to turn down the load. Why would you decline money? I'm not declining no fucking money. That's not happening. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on the USXpress variant, night Swift buying USXpress variant. A lot of shippers and consignors don't actually leave. Yeah, they probably don't, but I mean, I got stuff to do today, so I'm okay with sitting and waiting. And if I didn't have stuff to do, I'd be going to sleep. I'm always up for an opportunity to take a nap or eat. I could cook, meal prep for the week, right? Like I can make my food for the week. So many things. Like if you don't know what to do with downtime, then I don't know what to tell you. But downtime is always an opportunity to better yourself. So do something better than what you was already doing. Learn something. Watch your educational video. Something. I don't know. Jog. Lose some weight. Get your heart pumping. It's always an opportunity to better yourself. So why would you turn down loads? I don't know. Anyway, so let me go through these comments and see what y'all talking about. We'll go all the way to the top. What is your view, Joe? Okay, what up, Shannon? You remember my first video? The USXpress made $8 million off the deal. Yeah, they made $8 million off the deal, and if you had stocks in USXpress, you made some good money last night. What up, Tavares? Just to make money, that is, and it is what it is. Thank you, Aubrey. If they did heading 600 miles, I see why they had to sell. But see, that's different because the other companies, they wouldn't do that. Variant did things totally different, but that's why they were losing money. I don't ever leave Night. They have their stuff together. They sure did. That's the reason why I started with Night. Before I started driving, I did a lot of research on how to choose a trucking company. And one of the things they said is choose a trucking company that's not underwater, that's not in debt. And Night Transportation wasn't in debt. And they didn't require a contract to go through CDL school. And that's the reason why I chose them. What up, Walex? Yep, when I was at Night, I loved it. And they did have terminals in every city, every state. Bigger bonus. I make $1,000 a month bonus now. What up, Kimberly? They pay fuel, safety, and mileage bonus. Are you going to be pulling reefers again? No, I don't think that they're going to make those type of operational changes. I don't see it being. So that's why I made the comment, or that's why my thumbnail is what it is. Night Swift Express. Can you imagine Night Swift Express? That'd be cool, but if I don't see it happening, I don't know. I can't comment on that, but like Swift doesn't pull night trailers, Night doesn't pull Swift trailers. We just had a meeting before this, before I went live, and they said as of right now we're not going to be pulling any of Swift or Night trailers, and we're not using any of their terminals. So I guess I won't be doing reefer because we won't be pulling their terminals. Monday bonuses had double since you were here. You will love it when it comes your way. A lot of Swift drivers will probably get terminated to get rid of liability of bad drivers, which costs the carrier money. It happens in every acquisition and merger. Exactly. And I'm so glad you said that. Y'all need to watch out. All these drivers that complain, you might as well just go ahead and drink Clorox. No, stop. All these drivers that like to complain and don't want to do what they're supposed to do, and they're slacking, you better get on it or you about to be out the door. It's, I'm gonna Kellogg dedicated at night and absolutely love it. Try it being a trainer, but decided it wasn't for me. Other than that, no complaints. Okay, so now there's another thing, right? At USXpress, I think their training department, they allow females to train males and males to train females. At night, that's absolutely not allowed to happen. You cannot, as a female, I can't train a male driver. I have to train a female driver. That's something that USXpress could adopt, that night could bring over to USXpress. That's something that could be good. And the reason why is because the sexual assault, there's a lot of times that can happen. It's perfect environment for sexual assault. So this is another reason why it can make USXpress better. Good luck finding one. A lot of shippers are finding these only should believe that's right. Find a hobby, read a book. Get out of trucking if you don't know how to deal with downtime. Exactly. We get paid to hurry up and wait. Hurry up, get to the shipper just so you can wait. Exactly. Do y'all have 4-day runs? No. So are they done with my trailer? They put it back. They didn't unload it that quick, did they? Oh, might be leaving. US variant is over the road. So a while ago, I don't know, but no, we don't right now. I don't know if that's gonna change. We will use Night Swift terminals, or we won't. We will not. Damo. Is that the Damo what it is? Oh, what did Damo say? Yeah. I wish I was a lady from Love and Basketball. Shoot. I would need that Love and Basketball money. King, why you put her in timeout? Do you think lanes will open up near Michigan? I don't remember if Night has lanes in Michigan, but if they do, yeah. I believe what I think is gonna happen, like my assumption is that Night, we were like, as far as drivers concerned, we have more customers. I hope not. I don't think so. I don't think they're gonna change our speed. But I think that anything that has to do with production and profitability is what USXpress is gonna bring it. Night is gonna try to get everybody on one accord, I believe. And I submit to you, that's what they say at court, when you can't say fact, you can't tell people what you can't tell the jury what it is, like you can't testify for the client, but so you say, I submit to you. So I submit to you, because this is not something that I'm claiming, or this is what I think, this is my theory, okay? And everything that I'm saying in this video are my opinions, and the opinions of me and me only, not of USXpress, Variant, or Knight, or Swift, or none of that, okay? I believe that we're going to be able to be more competitive. You have 3 mega carriers. When it comes time to bid for freight, we're going to kill it. That means we're going to get great freight and make good money, because we're going to get good miles. So I'm excited about that. And with that means, I assume we're going to get more lanes. So we already got, Knight has reefer and intermodal. Swift has, I think, reefer and flatbed. Knight has flatbed too. I think USXpress has like 1 flatbed, but Knight has hazmat, and they go to Canada, right? So imagine if we can go to Canada and do hazmat now too, because Variant doesn't do that. That opens up more miles. Because I live in Texas. Imagine if I got a load going to Canada. I have passport. Yeah, intermodal is the ports, right? So I assume that that's going to be a good change. And then I think operations is going to change as far as like the structure of how things are done and the business is ran. Like, I think that they're going to tighten up on safety. They're going to tighten up on the training and orientation. I think the downfall to that would be the hotel rooms that they put drivers in orientation in might suck. Because right now they don't put drivers in hotel rooms that face outdoors. They have to be all in-hall. Like your door can't be outdoors. They have to be indoors, which is usually the better level hotel rooms. But when I was with Knight, I was in a rinky-dink little hotel room, ghetto as hell. So I think that might be a downfall to the orientation and stuff. But I think that the good thing is they're going to bring in better quality drivers, and they're going to be on those drivers like white on rice, and make sure that those drivers are being safe on the road. I think they're going to be able to keep drivers, retain drivers, because of the bonuses that's given out. I think the current, if USXpress does bonuses, I believe that that'll help retain drivers. A downfall is, no, I don't think that's a downfall. Well, okay, I can't speak for Variant, like for USXpress, I can only speak for Variant. I think the downfall for USXpress, well, I haven't worked USXpress over the road, I did local, so I don't even know how they operate USXpress over the road. Because, like, for example, they have fleet managers, we have communities, and I'm sure probably, I don't know, I'm just assuming, their fleet managers call their drivers saying, hey, you got to get up and deliver in like an hour. How far are you away? When are you going to be there? I don't get that here at Variant. They don't call us and ask us none of that. They don't bother you. So I can't speak to how stuff works there. Let me see something. I would have thought they would have called me by now. So, I think the safety, so we got safety, orientation, the miles, the trucks. I think it's good that, because since it's a big old acquisition and consolidation, that means that we have a better buying power. All this money, we can buy better equipment. So then we can keep the fleet age lower. Knight had an older fleet age than USXpress, so that's something that Knight can adopt. They are getting a lower fleet, or a younger fleet, because USXpress is really good at maintaining their trucks. I think that's going to work in our favor as drivers, because we get to have things that, you know, some USXpress trucks don't have refrigerators in them. All of Knight Transportation's trucks has refrigerators in them. So I think that would benefit the USXpress drivers. I don't even think they have inverters in their trucks. So I think that would help, you know, retain USXpress drivers. Their equipment that they purchase, like the Volvos and the Kenworths, they're the big ones, the studio version, or I don't know the name of it, but they're the big ones. So, because they have the money to purchase that type of stuff, which is really cool. Because Variant bought, or USXpress bought a little ass. The Kenworths are so small and crazy. Like the Kenworth at Knight had the cabinet doors and had the swivel table and all of that stuff. Variant or USXpress couldn't afford that upgrade package because they're in debt. That's what I mean by when you let a company purchase you and you consolidate. Now you have more money and you can do better things. But if you're in debt, there's things that you can't do. That's one of them. That doesn't retain drivers. If you don't have a refrigerator, I wish I would have came to Variant and they tried to put me in a red truck without a refrigerator. No, I came to Variant. One of the reasons why is because when they told me what kind of truck I'll drive and what it's equipped with. It was the truck, it was the equipment, the home time, and the pay. That's the reason why I came to Variant. I was working for USXpress, local. I called to find out information. What's the difference between Variant and USXpress? And, yeah. So, and I was kind of recruiting for USXpress. They loved me as far as social media, so they're social media friendly. I mean, not USXpress, but Knight. They're social media friendly. You could, I think we have chain boxes that you carry your chains on. We get the little brooms. Like, it's a lot of stuff. So I don't see it as a bad thing. I see it as a great thing. It's great as hell for for Knight Transportation, and because they're getting like the best end of the bargain. And for USXpress, it's saving them, so they don't go bankrupt, and we are not out of a job. So, in that case, I thank Craig Fuller for doing that. He could have just filed bankruptcy and started another company, but instead he sold it because he wanted to make money. I mean, $8 million. Oh, I'm gonna show you something. I got this off of FreightWaves. Let me show you something, give you some numbers. Which is crazy. So, USXpress had 7,200 trucks. Knight Swift had 17,800 trucks. USXpress had 14,400 trailers. Knight had 78,600 trailers. USXpress had 11,000 employees. Knight Swift had 28,000 employees. USXpress's revenue was $2.2 billion. Knight Swift's revenue was $7.4 billion. So combined, we have 25,000 trucks, combined 93,000 trailers, combined 39,000 employees, combined $9.6 billion. He sold it for $808 million. And I think that the revenue, I think I don't know what they're basing these on, if it's like truck or production revenue or whatever the case may be, but I remember seeing something on FreightWaves where the $808 million, I think, was USXpress was like 100,000 or I mean 100 million or 200 million. Oh no, yeah, $202 billion. So a $200 million, I think, was, I don't remember, but I never mind. I'm not even gonna go there. But he made $808 million, and the company is not. Wait, I saw something else too. I don't know if I screenshotted it. I didn't. I'm not even gonna look for it. It's 2.2 for USXpress, yeah. I don't know his reasonings, the entire reasoning behind selling USXpress, but I can only imagine the feeling, right? It was rumored around, the company that Eric Fuller wasn't really. Okay, this is what I heard, because I don't know what to make of it. When USXpress was doing bad and Variant was doing bad, they made Eric Fuller go in the office at Tunnel Hill and work in the office to be around the drivers and employees, and he didn't want to. He hated it. That was the rumor. And Craig Fuller built this company from the ground up. This was his baby. And I met Craig Fuller at the $1 Million event. He's an older man, and he seems down to earth. He likes to talk, and I don't see him being the kind of guy that's selfish. Like, just off of my vibe that I met the little short time that I was talking to him, he doesn't seem to be a about me type of guy. What's in it for me? Just off of my discernment of him. So I believe that for him to have made the decision, like, this is just my theory, to sell the company, his baby, the one he built from the ground up, had to have been a tough decision for him. But it's a good business decision. And I don't think that he would have been so selfish to just go bankrupt and let all these employees suffer. We're not the biggest we're not the biggest company, we're not like super mega, but he could have just easily just took it easy out, right? But he has shareholders, and investors, and the stock market, and all these people invested in this company. Going bankrupt would have hurt so many people. And it would have just really tremendously messed up everybody. And I just can't see Craig being the one to, I don't feel like he would want that on his conscience. So I think he sold it to look out for himself and for everybody. And for that, I'm grateful, because I still have a job. And nothing is changing as far as my job. My pay is not going to change. My routes and my miles, the operation staff, all of that is not going to change. So with that being said, I think it's good. I think the future of the company is going to be great. I have total confidence in Night Transportation. So if y'all like this video, like and subscribe. Share it to people who maybe want to know about this merger and acquisition. All the information that I spoke on, most of it, like 95% of it, was from FreightWaves, which is owned by one of the owners of USXpress. I think it's Eric Fuller or Craig Fuller, one of them two. I think it's Eric Fuller. And I'm not just speaking out the side of my neck. I actually work here. I'm actually an employee. I know what I'm talking about. So share it out to people. And if you're looking for a job, because the freight market is really low right now, it's terrible. We have the biggest, they just acquired USXpress, so that means the biggest company in the trucking industry with the second biggest company in the trucking industry combined with USXpress makes us a force to be reckoned with. And can you imagine the freight that we're going to run right now? So if you're looking for a job, this is the best time to come over here, because freight is low right now, but USXpress, our night winning bids on freight, is making it to where we're going to make some money. And if they're outbidding all of the other competitors, that means those competitors are not getting bids on freight. They don't have the freight. They're not hiring the drivers. And drivers are jumping ship because they need to work and make money. The best place to jump to should be here. So if you want to come over here, go to drivevarying.com, put my name, JoJon, JoJonHarris, JoJon Harris, on the application. My driver ID is 663248. And let me mentor you. I know people, I know things, I can help you be successful, I can help you make money, and I would never ask you to do something that I'm not willing to do. And I would never ask you to come to a company that is not going to be good for you, because I wouldn't be here if that was the case. So this is the best time to get over here right now, because customers, when they see this, they see the acquisition, they're gonna be like, okay. Because let me just say one more thing. Yesterday I was watching something was on TikTok. This lady was talking about brokers, and if you're a small trucking company just starting out, usually brokers won't broker you if you have one truck and you're just starting out. You got to go to somewhere like Amazon or something to get your experience before they'll take a chance on brokering you. But she said if you have 2 trucks, they're most likely to take a chance on brokering you. And so, this is just me just listening to it in the background when I was doing stuff. But then, when this acquisition and stuff happened this morning, I was thinking, that makes sense, right? Customers would be more willing to deal with companies that have lots of trucks and trailers because they know that their freight gonna get there, right? Versus a company that doesn't have a lot of trucks and trailers. Like, I think they said the truck to trailer ratio needs to be 1 to 4. 1 truck, 4 trailers for every 1 truck. And companies look forward to that because they know that their freight is going to get moved. And companies look forward to that because they know that their freight, their customers are going to book them. So, them acquiring these trailers, them acquiring USXpress and all of this whole fleet, this is the best place to be right now. I don't want you over here if you're complaining, if you, I don't do the mega carry and force dispatch and oh my god. Look, we about money over here. So I'm about money. And I'm just gonna be honest. I'm about doing right by people. I'm about honesty and transparency, and I'm about my bag. If you're not honest, you don't have good integrity, you're pessimistic, you see the glass is half empty versus half full, and you're not about getting money, stay where you're at. But if you're opposite of all those things, hit me up. Okay? I'm gonna let y'all go. Thank y'all for watching. I will be at Matt's in Kentucky at the end of the month, so if y'all going to Matt's, reach out. I don't have a booth or anything. I'm gonna just be circulating around, networking and stuff like that. I'm gonna debut my headset that I've been working on. It looks great. Oh my gosh, I outdid myself, and it looks super duper duper uber professional, like it came from, I don't know who sells them like that, but it's top quality, and I might sell it. It's awesome though. So check me out, and I'll see y'all later. Bye y'all. Wait, let me see the comments first before I go, because y'all was talking about some stuff. You're welcome, R. That was valuable information. Thank you, Dolphins. Everyone stay blessed. You're welcome. You're the best. Yep, the best is direct in the Lord. Alright, yeah. Y'all have a nice day and y'all be safe. Bye, y'all.